Hey everyone, and welcome to another weekly check and vlog where I try to keep track of my life and reading goals. My name is Wiebke, and this year I'm trying to get myself out of survival mode. And if you can't tell, I'm sick. I don't know. The last time we spoke, I was on my way to the dentist. That was Monday. And the dentist did a thing. I knew I was going to get new fillings, so I wasn't happy about that. And then the whole week just went like that. I was in pain a lot. I couldn't adapt to things. And then on Wednesday, I started getting sick, leading to me calling in sick and not working yesterday and spending the day on my couch mostly. And I think that's probably most of the weekend. I canceled my plans for tomorrow. And this morning I got up, I moved my body a little bit, just some light exercise because everything is stiff and hurts after lying around all day. And I do feel okay right now. I desperately need to go to the shops and buy some food and something for my throat. And I hope that depending on how I feel afterwards, I might go on a walk later to get some fresh air and some movement, and hoping that that will improve with the cold. But if I feel super down and exhausted after going to the shops, I might just collapse on my couch again and watch a lot of Netflix. Reading wise, we're probably not looking for an exciting weekend. I am currently trying still to catch up on podcasts, so I haven't started a new audiobook, and since I wasn't out walking or exercising a lot, I didn't really make much progress. So depending on how I feel, if I go out, I might listen to something today. But other than that, my main focus is, for today at least, to finish the third volume of The Husky and His White Cat Shizun. And I'll tell you about that one once I finished it. And then I hopefully start something else tomorrow, but depending on how I feel and how my brain is, maybe it's just short stories. We'll see. Now I have to go and have breakfast.
What a successful day. I managed to run my errands. I read some before I went out on a walk, a rather short walk, but I went on a walk. The sun was shining. It was really nice out. And then I had lunch and read some more, finished my book. So now I'm done with the third volume of The Husky and His White Cat Shizun. Just a quick reminder, this is a wuxia story or a cultivation story of a person who was rather evil in his life and did some despicable things and was very violent. But he was reborn back to a point where he was just a disciple at a sect and was learning to become a cultivator, and where he wasn't evil yet. So he's getting a second chance. We meet him in the situation with his fellow disciples and his teacher, and there is a lot of going on. The relationship between his teacher has been mostly of hate and misunderstanding. There was some kind of hidden love for a fellow disciple that never really was returned because mostly the other disciple died young, and that's where all the things went wrong in his past life. So now in this life he's trying to make up for that, and things evolve. The story, I keep getting back to the writing not being completely perfect. I keep going back to this love triangle situation between the two disciples, and the teacher is not really something I like because I don't like love triangles, but I do like the relationship and romance or whatever that is going to be between the disciple and his teacher, and the friendship and how they interact. I really do like that. I think the fantasy could be a bit more, a bit better, but it's all right. In this third volume, we find them fighting heavenly rifts, so there is something that opens so that demons can escape from hell, and so they have to deal with that, and then they find themselves in the underworld. More details would be spoilery, but I have just finished it, and the books always end on a cliffhanger, despite this being, as far as I understand, a web novel that has been transferred and published. So it's always one chapter going to the next chapter. The story really doesn't end after a book. So it's one long story, and I'm used to that, but I don't understand how they managed to do it in this one, that there's always such a big cliffhanger between the different volumes. So now I'm looking at something which I really, really hate, is a gap of 5 years for before something else happens. Or I don't know if we're going to fill the gap, but something happens that has the disciples and the teachers separated for 5 years. At least it's hinted at that. So I'm not really happy about that, and I might just continue reading the book anyways today, because I was just looking for something else and my brain is pretty mush. So everything just felt too intellectual and complicated that I had on my wish list that I was looking at. So I was just like, I could just go on reading that. But there's no more reading right now because, like I said, my brain is pretty tired and mush, and I'm just a little bit confused why the day when I'm completely out of it and tired feels endless. Other weekends, you have a Saturday that's over in a blink and you didn't manage anything. Now I'm sick and I feel like I've accomplished a lot for being sick. I really don't know what's going on here. Anyways, I'll see what tomorrow brings.
Sunday morning, and I don't know, things went downhill very fast after waking up. I woke up feeling fine, thinking, I could have gone to Bremen, meet my family, go to the museum. Instead, I canceled because I was feeling sick. So I got up and noticed that my glasses had fallen apart. So I keep falling asleep on my reading glasses. And yes, every now and again, one, whatever that is, an arm detaches. And I tried fiddling it back together, but I failed. So the only thing I could be reading today would be on my Kindle. So if I find the headspace to read today, I will continue with the Husky and his white cat Shizun. Like I imagined, the fourth book starts with skipping 5 years. We get about 70 pages of what the others are up to, what's happening in the world. It sounds a little bit nicer, and it sounds like maybe this stupid love triangle misunderstanding trope that's been going through the other books will go away. And I think it would improve the series because I do like the characters. It's just, it has so many annoying tropes that I don't like. So that's the reading plans all messed up. It's very sunny outside today, and I'm thinking about going for a walk now before I completely collapse. I really don't know why I'm feeling so much worse than yesterday. I don't know. Normally I have a cold for 1 day or two and then I get better. But this is really annoying. And it also had me notice that I've been thinking a lot about the screen times I have and the things I would like to ditch or make time or brain space for other things. Since it's the beginning of March, I looked back at February, what went well and what didn't go well, taking it with a grain of salt because I was sick a lot. But I keep going back to that moving more throughout the day is good. And there I come up against something that I usually do, or a mindset that I had that I didn't really notice was keeping me back as much as it does. And that's that I don't want to do things twice on the same day. So when I went for a walk already on one day, then I won't go on a second walk usually, which is stupid because you can go on as many walks as you like on a day. But my brain is like, no, we already did that today. We don't need to do that again. So maybe I need to try and overcome this, not only on work days, because this is where it started, that I noticed that when I go for a walk at lunchtime, I would also benefit from going for a walk after work, but often I don't. But I notice how much I benefit from walking to the gym after work and walking back home after the gym. So getting extra walks in, but they are not going for a walk, but they are just, I need to walk the distance anyways. And if I don't bring my bike, I get some extra steps, and the walking benefits me differently than taking the bike. And it's winter, so it's cold and rainy, and sometimes it's not easy to take the bike, or I prefer walking. So that is something I noticed that is holding me back. And I noticed the same thing for food. I tend to, which is ridiculous, think that I had oatmeal in my breakfast. So I don't want to have any kind of oats again during the day, which is stupid. I could just do that. Or I have apple in my breakfast. So I don't want to eat apple in the afternoon or in the evening, which is stupid. I don't know where that came from. And I noticed in February that I have that. It's a really strange thing to have. And it's completely stupid for healthy things because let me tell you, I don't have that for unhealthy things. I could eat chocolate for breakfast and still eat chocolate for lunch and chocolate for dinner and wouldn't find it completely strange or unnormal. Well, I would, but it wouldn't stop me because I had it before. You know what I mean? And so for March, I'm going to try to see and pay attention to that if I'm holding myself back on healthy habits, because I think I ticked the box at some point in the day already and I can't tick that same box again, which is just ridiculous, especially if it's sunny outside. So trying to do that. Another thing I completely failed on to do in February is the bookshelf declutter. I downloaded an app to see if I can resell books and if anybody would pay money for it. It's not worth sending them in if nobody wants to buy them anyways. So there's an idea that I started, but I haven't continued in actually using it. Hopefully that will happen in March because I really do want to get my spring cleaning setup done by the end of March so I can enter Q2 and actually spring with a better setup of things being organized and having their place and being less cluttered. Bringing me back to the digital clutter that I have. It's not really digital clutter per se, but I think I'm probably following too many people at the moment on varying platforms and wondering if I want to keep that up. Something that I always see is when people talk about getting their time back, being more productive, is reducing screen time, which sounds okay and reasonable, but then when you want to be in touch with people who are only online, or you like to follow people because you've done so for ages and they feel, those parasocial relationships that some of you probably have with me as well, because you've seen me doing this for years. And you have this relationship with people that you actually don't know, but you feel they're part of your life. And there are some that I would like to keep, but I've been adding a lot of people or following people where I notice that we don't have any connection anymore. And I'm wondering if I could just stop following them and see if that gains more time and brain space, because you have less in your inbox or less in your Instagram feed and it's less overwhelming. And I'm struggling with overwhelm again a lot lately. And I've noticed that I haven't had much time to go on Instagram, so every time I go, I feel like just catching up on things, but I notice that I don't really care about 80% of it. So I'm not really sure what I want to do with that. I have to think about that more, because one thing that's true about my brain, if I will unfollow you or anyone, my brain will discard it and never remember again. And so it is a final decision. I may come back in years and be like, oh, didn't I used to talk to that person? But it's rare for me. I notice that with other people when I stop following them. So I don't know. Another thing that I thought interesting or confusing was that I have heard quite a lot of YouTubers mention before in varying sections that they don't watch YouTube that much themselves, even though they are making YouTube their job. And I find that interesting, because a huge part for me that I enjoy about the BookTube thing is making videos, is talking with others. And I do notice that I enjoy or find there is a different relationship with people that also make videos than people who don't make videos. It's easier to connect if you are able to watch their channels as well. At least for me, as that's my experience. Let me know if you have a different experience, especially when you're participating in the BookTube community without making videos, which is perfectly fine. I've talked to so many people for years who don't make videos, so that's perfectly fine. But there is an extra benefit for that, because you have more of a face and a voice to the comments and the little snippets you get of each other, in my experience. So I'm conflicted about that. Another thing is also the community function, I think, on YouTube, which I don't usually use and I don't really know how to, which It's partly because I think I'm too old and too dumb for that to get any benefit out of it and understand it completely. But also mostly it's because it's an extra stress factor or something to keep up with on my phone and or in general. And I just don't want to add that to my stress factor. And I don't even know if anyone really uses it. You could tell me in comments if you do and share what your experience is there. So the goals for March is to see if I can reduce the clutter and overwhelm and increase the activities. Something that also didn't go well in February is Korean learning. I'm blaming that a little bit on sleeping more and being up too late and not having as much time in the morning, where I currently found the best time to do the Korean practice. But I might have to find different ways of maybe doing that short little snippets and breaks at work and see if I can sprinkle in more vocabulary practice throughout the day. I did well for a few days at work every time I went to the printer and waited for the printer to do something, that I did some vocabulary. But then I started talking to colleagues while I was waiting for things to print, which is also nice, but didn't help me with the Korean. So I always keep coming back to having enough mind space and freedom in the brain to think, to do all the complicated things. I do find it easier to add exercise, but then there is the strain of the body. Fun fact, not doing anything or hardly working out for 2 days, my body feels really relaxed and my backache is better. My shoulder still hurts, but that's a different situation. But it feels like my body really needed this rest. So I'm kind of reluctant to go on a walk, but I don't want to be inside all day when it's nice and sunny outside. And I do feel fit enough to go for a walk, but I might have to lie down afterwards and spend the rest of the day on the couch. I'm not exactly sure. The side effect of breaking my reading glasses is also that I do feel really worn out looking close up. That's why I have reading glasses. My arm is not long enough anymore. And it does help. And with the Kindle, when I'm reading on that, I can really make the writing bigger. So that's a bonus benefit of ebooks, definitely. But I am very exhausted, so I don't know if my brain can even read later on. Maybe the walk in fresh air will fix that or make it worse. So maybe I'll just end up spending the rest of the day watching Netflix. Who knows? I think I've basically made peace with trying to reduce Netflix time. There are so many things I am watching at the moment and I want to watch and I also want to rewatch that I do think the want of doing that is higher than the want of reducing Netflix time. So I am okay with that. One of the things that I think what I'm always trying to do is to do the things I want in a reasonable way. So if I want something more than something else and it's not really hurting me, then I'm okay with that. And I'm thinking maybe when the summer comes and I'm not sick anymore, Netflix time will reduce automatically again. And maybe if I finish all the things I started, which is utopian. We all know that. So, rambly update on a Sunday morning. Like I said before, nothing much happening this weekend with the brain fog and the cold. So, let's go on a walk and see how that goes. Going for a walk was the best idea. It was super beautiful. It was really nice and sunny outside. Despite all the sneezing I did, I really gained some energy out of it and I didn't feel super exhausted when I came home, but I felt good. So I managed to clean my kitchen, make myself some lunch. I tried my hand as, here we call it Buddha bowl. It's kind of some veggies put in a bowl. And I think it's poke bowls or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, so I tried my hand at that. It doesn't look good, but it tasted okay. I thought that this would be something easy to prepare, and I'm trying to get into the habit of that because in theory, you just have to have the ingredients, put them in a bowl, and then you just put dressing on top of it, and then you have some healthy snacks and food. So let's see if that improves over the future. And after eating, I still had energy left to film my wrap up for February and edit it. So it should be up already when you're seeing this. And now, before the sun goes down, I want to end the vlog. Not much reading happened this weekend, but a lot of thinking and podcast listening. I really need to rethink how many podcasts I'm following or trying to keep up with, because that's taking too much time from my audiobook listening, and I would have liked to listen to an audiobook this week instead of all the podcasts, which I also enjoyed. Complicated topic. Let me know in comments how you're doing that, how you're dealing with all the different media that is taking up the same spot of time when you can do that. Also, let me know how your weekend was. What did you do? Did you do something nice? Did you do something relaxing? Did you have an adventure? Did you read something great? Did you finish something that you've been working on for a long time? Or did you DNF something? Did you have a bad book? Let's talk in comments, and thank you for watching.